So good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. As you're all, I can see people jumping in now. So as you're all coming in, if you're new to us, let me give you a very quick introduction. My name is Laura. I'm head of customer success here at CoverageBook. We have David, head of customer support, who's going to be the other face you see here. And then we've got lovely Will on keyboards, who also works on support. So if you ever email in, you probably get one of us three replying. Yes, we're all humans on this end. Will's fingers are going like that, tenfold a minute. So today we are talking all about end of year reports. We have a lot to get through, and it's testing me and David today, see if we can do it within the time period, because I think we've always managed it. I'm wondering if this one's going to get us, but we'll have a lot that we'll go through. Good morning, Terry from San Francisco. And so the bulk of today, David's going to run through how to create annual reports and some hints and tips to speed things up and create sort of best of and different things you can do in the tool within CoverageBook. He's then going to hand over to me near the end of the session, and I'm just going to do a quick bit on how to make your report stand out. Other tools you could use, such as CoverageImpact, and then how you might want to benchmark and look at metrics for next year. I am well aware, especially for my bit, I'm going to be talking quite fast, so I'll try and slow down. But we will send a recording of this to everyone who is registered. And there's a lot of things within my bit, which I will say I'll send you a link to. So look out for that email. There'll be lots of links within that with more information. I'm just giving you a bit of a taster of lots of different things today. So yeah, feel free to ask questions as you go along. Will do his best to answer them. We normally loop back and try and do questions at the end, which we will if we have time, but I'm conscious that it's quite a packed out session. So I will stop blabbering on and I will pass the baton over to David.
Thanks, Laura. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I can't believe we're doing another annual summary webinar. We did one last year, and it seems that this year has just completely flown by. So without further ado, I'll get started. Let me share my screen first so you can see my CoverageBook account. Okay, great. So hopefully everybody is now looking at my CoverageBook account. Before we get into the main part of the webinar, all about creating annual reports and summaries, I just wanted to mention a couple of things before we get started. So when you import a clip to your account, so if that's either an online or social URL, or even a file-based clip like a JPEG or a PNG of a print clipping or a media file, all of those pieces of coverage are saved in your account, and you can reuse them as many times as you like across multiple reports. So you can do lots of the things that we're going to do today. You can create multiple reports from the same coverage and it won't count towards your usage or allowances. And actually, just recently, we have made image file imports free, so they will no longer count towards your usage. So if you do upload things like print clipping images, or perhaps images, still images of social posts or Instagram stories, they won't count towards your usage. Now, what we're going to look at first of all is how to make copies of existing reports and how to make templates, because these are two things that can be really, really helpful. So within my books page here, if you have monthly reports that you create for your clients, and you tend to use the same formatting, the same logos, the same colors, the same metrics choices and placements, and perhaps slides and sections and things like that, you can make a blank template of any report inside your account. And all you need to do that is just click on the three dots below and to the right of any book, click on copy, and then hit the copy as template option. And what this will do is it will just essentially create an exact copy of your previous report with all of those formattings and settings saved. So this is a really good time saver if you tend to create monthly reports for your clients and you want to keep everything the same. You can just hit that template button each month and create a new blank one that you can reuse, which is hopefully save you a bunch of time. Now, the other thing that you can do is that you can make an exact copy of any report in your account. So again, if I go to the three dots below and to the right of the book and hit the copy option, you just need to choose the one that says copy with coverage, and this will reproduce your book exactly. Just to save a little bit of time, I have already created a copy of this football championship report here. This is an exact copy, so all of the slides, the formatting, the colors and everything are exactly the same as that previous report. Now, one of the reasons why you might want to copy a report is that you might want to tailor it differently for different audiences or stakeholders. So this is a really quick and easy thing to do. Just make a copy of the report, and then, for example, you can scroll down and think about how you might lay out the coverage differently. So, for example, in this particular report, I might want to have the social coverage section at the top for my social media team. I might even want to hide some of the sections of the other coverage from showing in this report. So you can do that by clicking on the hide section option. It will still include all of the metrics in the report for you, but it will just hide any of those clips that you don't need to see. And then the other thing that you can do is that you can customize and tailor the metrics summary to a different audience as well. So with the summary page, you can drag and drop these cards around in any order that you like. And you can also customize which cards show in the summary. So for example, I can click on the choose metrics option in the top left. As this is for our social media team, I might actually want to switch off the number of pieces of coverage in total and switch to using the number of social posts. You can even pick out each platform's clip counts as well. So there's Spotify clips in here as well. And as you're scrolling through, I might want to turn off estimated views, but I might want to keep social views and YouTube views and TikTok plays as the primary metrics there. And of course, you can then drag and drop these cards to show up at the top as well. So do have a play around with this. You can experiment with creating copies of reports and tailoring them differently for different audiences. That's absolutely fine. If at any point you wanted to get rid of a book from your account, you can just click on the three dots below and to the right of that book and hit the archive option, and we will remove that from your book's pages for you to get rid of those for you. So that's a really, really quick overview of importing clips, how to make templates that will save you time, and also how to make exact copies that you can then change up and switch for different audiences depending on who you're presenting your reports to. So now we're going to move on to the coverage vault. Now, if you have never used the coverage vault before, it is an absolute treasure trove of data, and you can find it in the top left-hand main navigation bar. So if I click into the coverage vault here, this will show you all of the clips that you've ever added to your account since you've been a customer. So I've added around 1,700 clips across all of my reports and all of my folders. There's lots that you can do here, so I would suggest having a good play around to see what you can do. And I'm just going to quickly talk through the features down on the left-hand side, the features along the top, and then we'll get into the good stuff on how you can actually make summary reports and things like that. Now, the first menu that you'll see at the top is a search bar. This is exactly what it is. You can search for the outlet name or the publication name, or you can search for the title of the clip as well. So, for example, if I type Sky in here, it will bring up all of the clips that feature that, and then I can click into a clip individually to view it. Now, what's really good about this is it will also show you all of the books that this clip is featured in across the top here. We reuse the same coverage loads and loads of times, so you'll see that across the top there in all these different books. The really good thing about this is that you can dive into any of these links and it will take you to the clip inside that book. And you can also make quick edits to any of the metrics here as well. Just to let you know, if you do make any changes to any of these metrics, it will affect all of the clips or all of the books that this clip is featured in. The reason I wanted to mention that is that this is a really good way to find a piece of coverage that might be inside a very large book or a book with lots of sections. So if you're ever importing clips into a book and you're thinking, I'm pretty sure this clip is in here, if you come here and search for the clip and click into it, you can jump straight to that page of your report to help you find it much easier. Now, the three drop-down menus below, the next one is media type. This is a really simple filter that will allow you to go more granular. So you can look for Facebook, Instagram, print, radio, social, Spotify, etc. So if you wanted to find a particular platform filter for all of your clips, you can use that drop-down menu. And then the two drop downs below, these are really useful for helping you to filter for clips that are more relevant to your clients or to a particular report. And we're going to use these today to make summaries. So the first drop down is for folder. You can scroll through this list to find your client's folder, or you can just click into the folder that you're looking for, or in fact, you can type the name and search for it. I've created an annual reports folder for this particular webinar, just with some example reports in. And then the next drop down will be the books that you have within that folder. And again, you can just scroll through, pick the book that you want, or you can just search for the book at the top. If you have a book with multiple sections of coverage in it, when you click into that book, you will then have an additional sections filter as well. So you can quickly find just the clips that feature in an individual section inside your book, which is super useful. Now, at any point, if you wanted to clear or reset your filters, you can click on the X's at the top here, or just hit clear all, and that will reset back to default values again. Now, there's a couple of options at the bottom. I'll quickly touch on them now, but we're going to look at these in a little bit more detail. And the just highlights option is a really good one for me. This is super useful if you just want to pick out your best pieces. And then underneath, we also have some quick search bars where you can find coverage published between 2 date ranges or imported into your account between two date ranges. And these can be super useful if you really need to make a report super quickly. I'll touch on those in just a moment. And then along the top, any of the columns that you see that have an up-down arrow means that you can filter by A to Z, Z to A, or highest to lowest, lowest to highest. And these can be really useful as well. So you can quickly scan through your clips to see the oldest to newest clips. And then in the last 4 columns, this is also really helpful for you, because you can actually filter your coverage by highest to lowest metric. So if you're interested in just quickly seeing perhaps what was the highest performing piece of coverage for a particular folder of coverage for your clients, you can just click on the up or down arrows and you can sort those. And we can see straight away that this Instagram post from Sky Sports has the highest number of views of all of the coverage in a folder. So that's a really powerful filter that you can use quickly to see highest to lowest clips. And then just at the end, you've also got the edit button, which takes you into the edit view of the clip that we saw earlier. And then we also have the share button. This allows you to share an individual online link to a URL, an online URL to a single clip, and it will present that clip with metrics. So if you ever wanted to just share a single clip with a client, you can create a share URL there as well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a really quick way that you can create an annual summary report in just a few clicks using the published date range. And so to do that, I'm going to dive into, again, my annual reports folder here that I've got. And then I'm just going to go straight down to the bottom where you've got the published dates. Now, before you use this filter, it's really important to check that all of the coverage in a particular folder has a published date already, because sometimes you'll import a piece of coverage and it won't pick up a date. If that happens, it's always worth just checking the very end of your coverage list. So just go to the very end of your coverage in this filter and list, and just make sure that all of the dates that you see have a published date. If any at the end of your list don't have a date in this column, you can just click into the clip, click into the date, and then you can add that date manually. So once you're happy that you have all of your clips within a particular folder and they all have a published date, what you can do now is just literally search for 1st of January 2024. to the 31st of December. And that will now pick up 38 pieces of coverage for this particular client from January to December. What you can now do is hit the select all button, and you'll see that there's some options that appear. You've got create a new book from selection, add selection to existing book, and also how to create a CSV from this selection. And we're going to look at all three options. But for this particular one, you just need to hit create new book. We'll give this one a quick summary, a name, sorry, call it whatever you like. And then we're going to add this to my annual reports folder and just hit create book and add coverage. That's done. So in just a few clicks, this will actually create a brand new annual summary report with those 38 pieces of coverage in it for your clients. So if you are in a real pinch and you just want to get a report out there quickly with all of your coverage, that's a really quick way to help you do that. Now, I mentioned the just highlights option. This is one of my favorite features of CoverageBook. Hopefully you all use highlights, but what I mean by that is that if you are importing coverage to your report, you can actually create a highlights reel of the best pieces throughout a report for your readers. It's really easy to do. All you need to do is, as you're importing coverage to your report, just click on the add to highlights star icon in the top right of any clip. And we will add that to the highlights page of your report. What's really good about this is that when you share your report with your clients, they will see these highlights front and center. They can click through, they can view them in full, and they can see all of those before they even get to the sections of coverage inside your report. So it's a really nice way of presenting the best pieces to your audience. But the other good thing about it is that if you routinely highlight your best pieces of coverage for your clients throughout the year, you can actually just come here, select the folder for your clients, and then just hit that just highlights button. And this will pull out all of those highlights for you in just a few clicks. So you can see here that I've got 8 pieces of coverage that I've highlighted for my clients as being the best standout pieces through the year. And again, really, really quickly, I can just select all of those, or I can select a few depending on which ones I want. And then I can create a highlights book for that particular client. And then I'll just add that back to my folder there as well. So in just a few clicks, you can create a published on summary for your clients, and you can also create a highlights only report. So they are the two really, really quick ways that you can make summaries for your clients. The final thing we're going to look at is what to do if you typically create monthly reports through the year for your clients. How would you go about getting those into a nice annual summary report for them? And we're going to look at how you can add books onto books to make that summary really quickly. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the annual reports folder here. You can see that I have, let me just click in there. You can see that I have some books that go from January to January to December in there. Let me just reset that. There we go. We'll dive into that folder there. So all I need to do now is select my first book that I want to add to my annual summary. If you want your annual summary to show from January 2024 through to December, just add the books in reverse order and we will include those in the right way for you when we do the report. And it's really simple to do. So all I'm going to do is search for my first book for, if I can spell it, there we go, December 2024 coverage. Once I've got those clips, I can just select all and hit create new book from summary. And then we're going to call this one, again, my annual summary. Now we're going to change the section name to December 2024. And we're going to, again, create that in my annual reports folder. So now we've got that book created with the December section of coverage added. And all we're going to do is we're just going to repeat the process until all of those reports are added. So the next one we're going to do is November. And again, we're just going to select those clips. This time round, we're going to hit add selection to an existing book because we've already created that summary report. And here it is. So I can just select my annual summary. I can create a new section for this, call it November 2024, and hit add coverage. And basically, you just need to keep repeating this process until you've added all of your 12 books through the year. So hopefully it should only take sort of 5-10 minutes or so to create this report. Just do one more. So select annual summary, create new section, October 2024. And then what you'll see in the overview page is that as you start adding these sections of coverage, they will appear in the right order for you, which is why we started with December 1st. They will also show as an individual section through your report, so it helps to keep everything nice and organized, and your clients can quickly dive into each monthly section to find those. The metric summary page will update with all of those metrics for all of the sections automatically. It takes a few minutes for that to upload as you're starting to add coverage, so don't worry if it takes a few moments to update. I think I saw on the chat really quickly that somebody mentioned, how do you organize your coverage into sections? So hopefully I can answer that really quickly now. As you are importing your coverage into the report, when you add your links, let me just add coveragebook.com if I can spell it. You'll see that you have the option to add it to an existing section, or you can create a new section. So as you're adding coverage, you can organize all of your clips into individual sections as well. You can also create reports blank and then go into the sections area here, and you can add a blank section to set those reports up as well. But yeah, so hopefully that will show you how you can create an annual summary by adding one book after another to create an ongoing summary. If you do like to finalize your reports through the year, then you could actually set up your annual summary in January. And every time you complete a report for a client each month, just add that report to your summary. It will give you a running total through the year. And then when you get to December, all of the summary is already made for you. So that might help save you a bit of time as well. Now, the final thing we're going to look at is creating CSVs from the Coverage Vault and how you do that in a book. So one of the new features that we've recently launched for silver and above plans is that you can now make a selection of clips from the Coverage Vault. You can use any of these filters, any of these date ranges. And then when you hit the selection, you'll see that there's a create CSV from this coverage. If you hit this button and hit the create CSV button, we will generate a spreadsheet of all of that data for you and we'll email it to you. This can be really, really useful if you don't always need to create a report and you just want to get the data, the clips, all of the metrics, etc. You can do that really quickly in just a few button presses. But you can still access that exact same data if you're on one of our bronze plans. All you need to do is just select the clips once you've got them filtered, hit create book from that selection and create that report. And then you can just go into the share page of that report and use the generate CSV option to export that to a spreadsheet. So you can do exactly the same. It just takes an extra few button clicks. I think that's everything from me with creating summaries. So hopefully that's helped to look at copies, templates, reusing coverage, and also how you can make quick summaries and how you can add reports together to make more in-depth summaries across different sections as well.
Thank you, David. And it's almost like, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, it's almost like Vertica, you set me up for the first thing I'm going to say. So hopefully now you know how to fairly quickly create an annual report. My side of it is I just want to talk a bit more about sort of how to make your report stand out and other things that you might want to consider. So first of all, the best reports that I see, they tend to have a lot more commentary around it. So like while you're in the depths of your campaign and what you're reporting on, what your objectives are, the person you're presenting it to, they might have awareness of it, but they might not remember exactly, actually, in March, we changed it. Well, we started off telling you to promote this product, which is why half the annual review does. But then we switched focus and we did this. Or I think you always have to think about what happens if your report got passed on and it got passed to somebody who has no understanding or context behind what you're doing or your numbers. So in this one, 3.55 million social estimated views. Is that good? Is that what we're expecting? And so one of the best things to add along the way is slides. So to add a slide, David's going to be my demo still because he's so much better at demoing than I. You just quickly hit that add button in the top left-hand side. And then you've got two options. So in that, you can either create a slide. And within that, we've got quite a few different layouts you can choose from. So you can add images, just have text. You can change the color, change the background. So this is quite good if you just want to lay out your objectives or things like that. Or you can just have full-on images. But there's also an option to upload slides. So if this isn't quite enough and you want to do a PowerPoint thing, or you've got a graph or something from a different tool, you go through the same process, but you can just directly upload it. And so, yes, I mentioned some things that you might want to use sort of slides for, your objectives being quite a big one, telling the story of the campaign, telling the story of the year, what you got up to, what were some cool things you did, what stories did you release, pictures of events like the picture of these footballers here, that looks really good, and just like bringing to life sort of like what the campaign's been about. So if you've got any collateral like that, and also pulling out numbers. One of the links I'll send you at the end is a webinar we did on how many numbers. And basically you can have a number and it can give you a snapshot of like that's representative of. So yeah, it's a great post, and it's all about how if you have a really big number, people get lost in it, but a smaller number, people can have more context with it. So you might want to use a slide to pull out some of the key figures that you've got in your summary and actually mean what it means for you. It's more than last year, it's less than last year. This is great because Jamie, no, these slides don't count as pieces of coverage, so you can add as many as you want. And yeah, Poppy, it's like you're all teeing me up for everything that I was going to answer. So you can add as many as you want at the beginning of the intro part, but you can also add it at the beginning of sections. So that again helps bring your audience through the story of, like, as David's got here, it's one at the start of the events coverage. So you might want to say, this is what we did on the events, or you've got social, you can add them in there. So you can't add them in between pieces of coverage, but you can add as many as you want at the beginning and then as you go through. So once you get used to adding slides, one thing that you might want to look at is a tool we've got, and it's free and it's available for everyone, and it's called CoverageImpact. We've done webinars on CoverageImpact on its own, so there's a lot to go through, and I'll link to it after this webinar. But effectively, all you need to do is you drag the CSV, as David highlighted how you can get them. You just drag them into this box here. And what we can do is we will create a graph of your coverage over the time. So here's a great example. And this in itself already starts to tell a story, didn't it? So you can say, do you know what? We had this is when we had more budget in October or November, or this is when we had that story. Do you remember? I hate the word viral, but it got picked up by more places. If you've got a lull of coverage, you can say, do you remember that's when we stopped and we pivoted and we decided what we're doing? It's also really good at saying, being able to demonstrate lead times. So although this campaign might have started in September, actually the coverage starts to hit in October, November, and setting up guidelines for next year and expectations. So you can go ahead, you can change all the colors in the graph if you wanted, and you can export this image just as it is, or you can take this one step further. So if you've got any impact data, we make it quite easy to overlay it. So we have some examples here. Sales, stock price, web traffic. I know you don't always have access to it, but if you do, you can overlay it so you can see whether your coverage is like having any impact. Obviously, it's never straightforward. There could be lots of things going on, but when you have a graph that has an impact line, I think Dave's going to show one in a second. It's really good to then be able to say, look, this is a great one, I'll coverage it here, and then you see that the impact happened just afterwards. It'd be quite a coincidence that, you know, our coverage went up and then the sales increased. So it's a really good one to play with. If you don't have any impact data, there is sort of almost a Google Trends plugin. And Google Trends is great because it's like, oh, our coverage landed and people started searching the campaign name or the brand name. And we make it really easy to pull it in. So much to go through there. I will send a link to the webinar where we go through it, but I really implore you to have a look at that, and you can really make your reports shine. We're going to go over, David. It's the first time we're going to do this. So sorry, I've just got 2 more points. So, oh no, I'm just on my last point now. We're okay. So lastly, once you have your report together, it's a really good time to start sort of benchmarking your metrics for next year. And what I guess the main metrics I see people use are sort of audience figures, but it's a really good time to move over to estimated views. So just a reminder, audience figures is the total number of anyone who has been to the website or every follower in the month. So if you've got a piece on the Daily Mail, it's everyone who's been to the Daily Mail in that month, or New York Times in that month, or the followers of a certain channel. Can't really hand on heart say I believe that everybody saw this piece of coverage. And one of the biggest downfalls I think of using and relying on the audience figures, when you start getting annual reports, you start to get figures in the millions and the billions. Again, I'll send you a blog post which sort of highlights how once people get to those bigger numbers, first they can't grasp them, just ends up being a wall of numbers, but also you can't hand on heart believe that your coverage actually was seen by that many people. So estimated views is, you know, you got to get comfortable. It's a lot smaller number. So, but it's a good time to move over because you'll have your report, it'll have the audience figure, but you can also bring in estimated views. And you can say, look, we're going to get better at measurement this year. We're going to have more correct numbers, ones that are a bit more realistic. It's really good because then your PR can be judged with other marketing activity as well. But the good news is the following year, you can still make the report with the audience figure and the estimated views. But it's a good time to start saying, do you know what? Our monthly reports are going to focus on this more concise sort of estimated views. So in the email afterwards, yeah, we'll send some links. Thank you, Will. I will send over some more details about estimated views, including how you can highlight it to your report readers and introduce this as this new metric that you might be looking at. But it is worth doing so before you get pulled up in a meeting and said, do you really think that your report reached however many billion people? It's really good to be the one first to say we're moving to this more realistic metric. So yeah, have a look to see what estimated views your annual report's got for this year, and then you can use that almost like a benchmark for next year of what you might be looking for. Thank you, everyone. Oh, we're only 3 minutes over. We managed it. And I'm sorry I had to talk so fast. There was so much we realized that we wanted to cover in this. But yes, as I said, we will send a recording of this to everyone. It looks like Will has been super busy. I kept an eye on the chats as we've gone through. I think Will's covered most things when you were speaking, David. Has he covered most things when I was speaking? Yes, perfect. And if anybody does leave this and then think, oh, actually, I've got one more question, or we didn't quite answer something well enough, we're always here at support@coveragebook.com. You normally get one of us 3 answering. We know the tool very well. We're all versed in PR. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask us any questions. And again, if you get around to your reporting time and you're like, oh, how did I do this? Just pop us a line, use the little chat button, and we're always happy to help. Think I've covered everything? All right. Well, have a good rest of your day, everybody. It's gone dark here, so it's definitely coming the evening here. But have a good rest of your day with those that in the US, it's just morning time. You're welcome, Hilary. Welcome, Terry. Brilliant. Okay, thank you.